What's up, suckers? It's kind of a different background. It's already too hot outside for me, and it's only almost 11:30 for me to film. AM, not PM, promise. Well, okay, you can figure it. I didn't sleep good last night at all, so I'm gonna be loopy. But this video is titled specifically because, as most of you know, I'm still part of Reddit, and I am trying to make more videos to share. And a lot of people in the succulent group are noobs, and I'm trying to be really considerate and nice. Everybody starts out at ground zero. Nobody just knows how to take care of plants or succulents. And one of the main things I've come across is being able to provide advice that works efficiently and effectively for the new person with their new succulent that isn't scary. And I'm still not used to being able to just provide specific terms of phrases and then people being able to just be free and know exactly what they're doing. So, today's video is for majority of noobs on Reddit. So if you're watching this is for you. Today's video is titled Succulent Terms That Make People Uncomfortable. And it's awesome. And then I'll also be providing examples of this. So there'll be jump cuts. Right now, due to not having a job and still trying to figure out where we are and what we're doing, I don't have this amazing amount of money to be able to pay for my normal service that I can load up cuts of videos on my laptop, and then I put pictures behind them, and I put like the little phrases on the TV for you to see, and then, make it clever. Right now I'm literally just filming this on my cell phone, and then I pause it and I go do the other thing, and then I pause it. Instead of just being able to piece it all together, it kind of just runs into itself. So we're gonna start. So I have a list of 12 items. I'll probably add more as we go along, because some of them they kind of lead into others. And I'm gonna skip things like root rot, because majority of succulent owners know what root rot is, or at least what to look out for. If you don't, I'll make a completely other video. I'm going to skip terms like overwatering. It kind of, explains itself. So, here we go. Number 1 is aerial roots. They're little tiny pink or white filamentous roots that actually grow along the stem. They don't come out of the base like normal roots, so generally when you go to propagate, the first thing that comes out are little tiny pink roots. Those are just aeration roots. They absorb nutrients and moisture from the air. And so I don't like telling people that when they go to propagate to put it on water, because the first thing that happens is overwatering. Your succulent leaf is already filled with water. So if you're putting it in water, you're just adding more water. And then over time, your leaf's just going to shrivel up and die because, well, there's too much water. Number 2, beheading. That's literally just chopping off the head of the mother plant. Sometimes if you're already past a certain point where you have root rot in the base, but you notice that the top floret is fine, sometimes you just have to cut off its head. Number 3, and this one's my favorite term to use because so many people freak out. Butt chugging. It's literally just bottom watering. You put the base of your pot in water. That's it. There's nothing special that happens. Generally I'll do this so that way the foliage or the floret or the leaflets don't get wet, because oftentimes most people have their succulents out in sun, and if you go to just water everything down, each droplet acts like a magnifying glass, as I've said in previous videos, It acts like a magnifying glass, and it just burns holes in your succulent, and then people come out and they're like, oh, it's an infestation. No, you're just doing it wrong. Number 4 is corking. So it's brown bark-like tissue found on healthy plants. So if ever in one of my videos I say a woody succulent, that's all it is. It's just corking. It's just creating more of a woody base than a normal fleshy one. Number 5 is cresting. That is the mutation in succulents causing multiple growths on one port. So when people get babies in their succulents and they're like, oh my gosh, is this normal? Yes, it is, but it is a mutation. Cool thing is, once you get that floret, you can just pop it off and have a completely brand new succulent. Most people don't know that. They freak out. Number 6 is dormancy. It's literally when your succulent falls asleep. There's a lot of succulent species that'll just completely stop growing, whether it's due to super extreme cold or super extreme heat. They're taking too much energy to grow, so they just basically put a pause on it, like a teddy bear. All right, number 7 is etiolate. Etiolate. Most people don't know how to pronounce it. It's really cute. They always call it etoliate. I know I said that in one of my own videos, and I had to go through and like stare incessantly at the word and try to figure out why it looked wrong. Your plant's leggy. It's stretching, looking for more sun, because most of the time people don't think, oh, succulents like sun. So they put it inside in a north-facing window or a south-facing window. Also, your other issue is if it's in a window, there's no UVB coming from direct sunlight onto your succulent. Sometimes that's okay. There are specific succulents that don't like direct sunlight. That's fine. If it starts getting leggy, though, you have an issue. Another thing, don't directly put your plant out in sun when it does start to stretch, because you'll just shock it. And then it'll burn, and it'll shrivel, and it'll die. And that's it. Your succulent's over. And you're like, but I put it out in direct sunlight. No, when you have a succulent indoors, even if it's in direct sunlight through the window, you have to gradually put it back out, put it outside. So you'll put it in full shade. Then you'll put it in a less full shade area. Then you'll put it less. It's a very gradual, you don't just, it's like jumping into a pool and then realizing it's cold. Okay? Like, you're shocked. Your whole body's just like, nope. You feel like your lungs freeze up. You know how to swim, but your brain momentarily goes, because it's too cold. Not smart. Number 8, monocarpic. The translation literally means one flower. So monocarpic succulents as soon as a flower comes off the main shoot of the bud, that's basically it. It flowers once and it dies. So and there are specific ones, I'd have to make a whole other video for that one specifically, this term. Because as soon as that flower shoots off, you have to cut off the head, the entire head, from the mother plant. You can't just cut off the flower and say, oh, it'll be good. And you can't even propagate the leaves either, which is the crazy part, because all those leaves have now been told, okay, you've already flowered. So, even if you pull those leaves off the side and you're like, oh, I'll just propagate it, it's fine. They will also flower and they will also die because it's already in the gene. It's already been told of this one main plant, you've flowered, that's it. End of discussion. There's no way around it, unfortunately. It doesn't affect the entire plant. So if you have multiple florets and then one shoot, just cut off that main shoot. You could propagate the florets. You could propagate or replant the normal stems. It entirely depends on what your succulent looks like and the type. Again, I'd have to go in and make a whole video on that. Number 9 is propagate. Yeah, a lot of people, when I say propagate, let's see. I'll use the example from Reddit. So somebody's succulent was getting too leggy, and so I explained to them, you need to behead your succulent and propagate the leaves. And they asked me, what about the stem? Well, at this point, if you're beheading the succulent, your leaves are just growing on a shoot. You're not going to have this beautiful succulent at the end anymore, so you might as well just propagate the leaves. What does propagate mean? So it's literally just the growth from the leaflet or the beheading of the mother plant. You can still propagate a beheaded mother plant. And again, they'll shoot off aerial roots first. Pink and white filamentous roots before they grow actual roots. Now, number 10, this isn't a scientific term. It's sunburn. Just straight up sunburn. You're putting your succulents in direct sunlight when they either don't like direct sunlight or you've watered them and then you left them in the sun. Yeah, it's just too much sun, guys. Just if you notice that your succulents are turning brown or they're going dormant or there's just something wrong with your succulent, pull them out of direct sunlight. It's not that hard. Also, Google is your best friend. People on Reddit haven't been doing this for years. So you're asking questions that can literally be Googled. I love you, but sometimes. 11, trichomes. Okay, so I made the mistake of trying to pick up a succulent once that had just died. Trichomes are the very fine, like, hairs on the fuzzy succulents, like the bear claws. A lot of people are like, oh, it's so fuzzy. If that succulent dies and you go to remove it from soil, please, for the love of God, put on gloves. I have it in a video of one of mine where I went to just go pull out a succulent that was covered in the fine hairs because I was thinking like, oh, they're just going to fall off. If they were soft before, they'll be soft after. Both of my thumbs, like an idiot, I had like thousands of splinters. And I had to stop the video. I think I actually took the camera in the bathroom with me and I had to wash both of my thumbs and try to scrape every single fine hair out of my thumb. And then I had to go find other gloves to be able to pick up said succulent just to remove it from the pot. Trichomes. Unicellular or multicellular appendages on my fuzzy suckas. And oh my gosh, after that, anytime I go to observe any of my succulents that have the super fine like hairs, I always just barely the tip of my finger. I'll hardly touch it. And I'm like, okay, we're good. It's still fuzzy. It's not, don't have millions of, oh my gosh, it was crazy. And yet, in my beginning videos, I kept telling people, always wear gloves, always wear gloves. But yet, I'd like dig my full arms into soil and get splinters all day, every day. But I'm succulent. Yeah, no, I was a sucker for my suckas. And then, number 12, variegated. So, oftentimes, if you get a specific succulent and you notice there's stripes, or there's a spotted pattern, or you're looking at splatters or not normal shadings, it's just variegated. It's just a genetic alteration of the portion of the chlorophyll in the leaf, and that provides stripes. Now, if you made it this far into the video, it's going to be the 15-minute mark. I will just do the follow-up with the photos. What I should have done is, as I was describing these, I could do it, but then that would be much longer. So we're just going to look at video or photos. So come along. All right, we're going to do a 2-for-1, propagation and aerial root. Beheading. That's just the tip of a floret of a succulent. Corking. What creates a woody succulent? This is a jade type. Cresting. When multiple florets are coming off the same port. So these two baby succulents are coming off the same port of the mother succulent, and then I've got several babies underneath. We're going to skip a little bit ahead. Trichomes, my fuzzy succulent. You see all those tiny filamentous hairs. Yeah, I made the mistake of putting my thumb in one of those of a dead plant. Didn't work out so well. Now this succulent is going to cover 3 terms. Monocarpic, or one flower, so that's it for this stem. Also, sunburn. If you can't tell, everything's brown and dead. Got a little bit too much sunburn. Also, dormancy. So a lot of these florets haven't grown since we've moved to the valley because it's a little too hot for this succulent to be growing here. So it just has to get used to its new weather. And last but not least, variegated. Here's a really good one. See the striping pattern? That's what that is. So these would be a really pretty green, similar to that color, but since this one, particular one is variegated, I have the simple white stripes, or like that one, it's kind of a blotchy pattern. That one underneath has a little bit of a spotting going on. So this particular one is just variegated. Just simply meaning there's stripes. Beautiful. Alright, and that will conclude today's video. Hopefully you've made it to the end. And I've also figured out that sometimes YouTube will automatically switch it and then sometimes it won't. So that's what we're dealing with. Alright, tune in next time. Peace out, suckers.